So you went to the hospital, and what happened after that? After the therapy, blah blah blah.
Well, while I was in the hospital, I realized I was pregnant.
Oh, so you had a boyfriend. We skipped over that.
I actually didn't have a boyfriend.
You actually didn't have. He wasn't your boyfriend. Okay,
It was
okay,
all part of this trauma and
okay.
experience that I was going through, and I guess looking for something.
Okay.
But
How old were you when you got pregnant?
I was.
Hi, Tamika. How are you today?
I'm good.
Did I pronounce your name correctly? What is the correct pronunciation of your name?
You did it fine, Tamika.
Tamika. Okay. What did you get growing up? Like, how was it pronounced when you heard it incorrect?
Tamika, Tamika, mostly Tamika though.
Okay. Okay. So for the most part, your name is spot on for the
Yes.
most part.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What were some of your nicknames growing up?
TT.
Who called you TT?
Well, actually, that's probably more of a noun thing.
Okay.
But Peaches, Smiley, maybe Giggles.
Wait, who called you Peaches?
My aunt.
Your aunt. Okay. Shout out to aunt.
Rosebud was probably my first name. That was from my dad.
Your dad called you Rosebud. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Every other name was school.
Okay, so you got, like, most commonly just Meek or Mika.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you also said Boo. Somebody called you Boo?
Oh, yeah, that's all my whole dad's side.
Your dad's side, they call you Boo. Okay, okay, okay. So speaking of your dad's side, where are you from?
North Philly.
You're from North Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you describe your neighborhood growing up? Like, where specifically in North Philly did you grow up, and how would you describe it?
Well, now the area we would call 8th and Oxford, but 8th and Master, Jefferson, all that area, 10th Street to 6th Street. It was really a community. It was really like a family growing up. A bunch of kids, a bunch of fun.
Okay. So when people think North Philly, they think danger. That's not what you think.
Well, of course, it became danger, but I grew up in the early 80s when drugs were just starting.
Okay, right.
So it wasn't the same. Even though there were plenty of gangs, we really didn't have that type of interaction.
Okay, okay. Were you an only child growing up?
No.
Okay, so with the siblings that you grew up with, are you the oldest or the youngest?
I'm the oldest.
What would you say is the age gap between you and the youngest?
9 years.
9 years. Okay, so that's perfect. So imagine that you are 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 10 years old, spell out the siblings that you grew up with. You don't have to say their names, but how old are they? So you have a brother or sister whose age? A baby who's...
one.
Okay.
I'll say 1, 2, 3.
Really? Really?
1, 2,
so you're 10 years old and they're 3, 2, and 1.
Yes.
What was that like, living in that house? Because at one point you're the teenager of the house, like the boss.
It was traumatic.
It was traumatic. How so?
Being a teenager and being responsible for kids isn't a great thing.
Okay.
You know, puberty, and you're not a parent, and you don't. That's not even an option that you want to be involved in.
So you feel like you were helping raise the little ones?
I was thrown into a situation that I didn't want to be involved in.
Okay. Okay. Especially when you're 14 and they're 6, 5, and 4. 14, 15, 16, so you're like tremendously older than them.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you were in a point where you were helping raising them. You were like the built-in babysitter, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Did you grow up with both parents in the home?
Mostly I grew up with both parents, not in the home though.
Okay, so in the home, did you live with just your mom or just your dad?
Mostly my mom.
Okay, did you know your dad? Did you see him often?
Yes.
Okay, how often did you see your pops?
All the time.
All the time. Okay.
As much as I wanted to, I probably could say.
So he didn't live too far away?
Not at all. And half the time, I live with my dad as well.
So you live with your mom's son and your dad's son. What ages would you say you live with your mom and ages you live with your dad?
It was kind of intertwined. So it's like, I remember a period of time where I just lived with my dad, which wasn't usual, but that probably was around maybe 4, 3 to, between a period of maybe 3 and 5.
Okay.
But mostly it was either my mom and dad or my mom.
Okay, but you never lived with both of them at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Because they lived together at points. You know, they lived together at points.
Do you feel like that affected you at all? Like sometimes you're with your mom, sometimes you're with your mom and your dad, sometimes you're with just your dad.
For me, I don't think so.
Was it like normal?
For me, it became a normal thing.
Okay.
And I guess given situations, I kind of understood the situation. I don't know. Thinking as a kid, it really wasn't an issue for me.
So you kind of liked it?
I kind of liked it.
Okay. Definitely. Why? What did you like about it?
Well,
first of all, when you were with your dad, I'm assuming you got away from the little ones.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
When I was with my dad, I spent more time with my grandmom and my aunts and uncles. It was a whole family. And the family dynamic was different than my mom's family dynamic.
Okay.
So, that was the thing. I was definitely spoiled. I was basically the only child there.
Okay. On your dad's side, you're the only child, right? On my dad's side,
I was the only child.
Okay.
Basically.
Wait. So the family dynamic on your mom's side was different than your dad's side, where
yes.
you could tell the difference even as a child.
Yes.
What were the differences, in your opinion? High level.
Well, for one, it was more supervision on my dad's side.
Okay.
And it was more of a normal dynamic where the adults was there to make sure you eat, make sure they breakfast, lunch, dinner, activities. You actually had to ask to do things, and you were guided and affectionate. They were way more affectionate than my mom's side of the family.
Okay.
So my mom's side of the family was really topsy-turvy. It was rarely adults. It was really supervision. It was very chaotic. But for kids, that's cool because you could do what you want.
Right. You kind of get away
until
with more.
Until it's time to eat.
Right.
Do something like that.
Things where adults are responsible for the kids is like you fending for yourself.
So I had kind of the best of both worlds, I could say. And it was a lot of kids. So you weren't alone, per se, because it was a lot of kids. And we were always doing kid things. But yet, what made it a community is because even though the adults in our house were not there, there were still adults in the neighborhood that kind of still guided you and protected you, even though your parents weren't there.
Okay. So speaking of your parents, how would you describe your relationship with both of them? So let's start with your mom. What was your relationship like with your mother?
It was confrontational, probably.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't really have a close relationship because we didn't really communicate.
Okay.
There was really no communication as a child. An adult, yeah, I can communicate because I'm grown and I'm going to say what I say. But as a kid, we were really raised with the idea of
children should be seen and not heard.
Children should be seen and not heard. And do what I say and not what I do in that sense.
Okay.
But with my dad, it was different. And me, the problem that probably exists most with my mom's side of the family is I was very verbal.
Okay.
I always talked. I always said how I feel. I say what I think. I want you to understand what I did or what's going on. And with my dad's side...
So let me stop you for a second. When you described your mom, you used one word, which was confrontational. I want you to describe your relationship with your dad with using one word.
Loving.
Loving, okay.
Loving or supportive. I'll probably say more, well, both.
Okay.
But loving. It was caring because he cared. And that whole side cared. Like, if something happened, you'd be like, I'm not comfortable with this. They want to know why you're not comfortable.
Okay, got it.
They appreciate that thought. My mom's side is just like, we don't really care. We said do it, and that's that. It's over.
Okay. So, did you wind up becoming a parent yourself?
Yes.
How many lovely blessings do you have?
I gave birth to 5 children.
Okay. What are their age ranges today?
29, 25, 22, 17, and 13.
Okay. So you've always had a healthy mix of teenagers, Adults and preteens in the house.
Yes, because I raised more kids than mine. But so yeah, I always had a bunch of kids.
Okay,
That's
okay.
one thing.
So let me ask you this. So you know your parents,
Mm-hmm.
you know how they raised you because, of course, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe some of the similarities and differences between your parents' parenting style and your personal parenting style?
Um, I don't know. I don't think it's a lot of similarity.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's inherent. Like you have habits that you develop. I am I talk, period. But once I get to a level where I feel like you're not listening, I'm hollering. So I feel like I get that from my mom for sure.
Okay, okay.
I'm really cut and dry.
Okay.
So I feel like I get that from my dad.
Got it.
You know, it's not a lot of, it has to make sense.
Right. Logical.
It has to be logical. And that's my dad's side. My mom is just like, get this done now. Like, this needs to be done. And I already been through the logical. We already been through the steps. So I just want, it's no more conversation.
Right.
So I feel like that, I guess, that would be more of my mom's
Okay.
side.
What would you say is different than their parenting style and yours?
Everything else.
Okay.
Everything else.
If you could say the top two differences between your parents and you, what would you say?
Discipline.
Discipline.
Sure.
You discipline differently.
I definitely discipline differently.
How so?
You have more chances
Okay.
to do the right thing
Okay.
than my parents.
Okay.
Like you have more chances. And I actually understand more. I listen more. I feel like they had more of a this is the way things are supposed to go idea instead of this is actually how things are. You know, and for one instance, me and my kids was just talking about it yesterday about teachers and interactions in school and how my parents be like, oh no, they said this is what happened. You be like, no, that's not what happened.
Right, exactly.
But me as a parent, I don't do that. It's like I need to hear all sides and then we gonna come to a conclusion because we're not gonna do it. I know that you lie.
Okay.
I know that all parties could have their own story.
Right, kids lie, but teachers lie too.
Yes.
That's a fact.
So that's one thing.
Okay.
You know, it's a collaborative of information that goes into me making a determination of discipline or discussion or how we progress.
Got it.
You know.
So you grew up in North Philly the whole time.
Yes.
Would you
different
raise
parts.
different parts of North Philly? Would you raise your kids in North Philly?
I would have.
You would have. Okay.
I would have.
Okay. Speaking of North Philly, I bet you don't remember all the schools you went to.
I do
You
remember
do?
all the schools I went to in North Philly.
Okay. Let's start kindergarten. Go.
Kindergarten, I actually started in West Philly, but I went to Ludlow.
So how did that happen? How did West Philly happen?
We were living with my uncle and aunt, and then we moved back to my grandma's.
Okay.
So
Your dad's or your mom's?
my mom.
Your mom's. Okay.
My mom's sister, my mom's brother, and his wife, and then we moved from there to my grandma's.
What was your grandma's name? By the way?
Thelma.
Shout out to Grandma Thelma.
Thelma.
What was your dad's mother's name?
Willa Mae.
Shout out to Grandma Willa Mae. Okay. So in kindergarten, you remember in West Philly what the school was?
I can't remember.
Okay, it's all good. All right. All right. So you were at that school from K through 1, I think you said, and then second grade.
From kindergarten, I went half year.
Okay.
Then Ludlow, I went from K through 3rd.
K through 3rd. Do you remember Anderson?
Is that West Philly?
Yeah.
That's
the West. That would have been the West Philly.
One.
Okay.
That was half a year, so.
Right.
But
right.
I remember.
Okay.
Because it was half day, so.
Right. Right. So Anderson, then Ludlow. Ludlow was in North Philly?
Yes.
Okay.
And then.
And in fact, 6 and Master? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that was from K through 3. For summer 3. Summer 3.
Right. Summer 3. Well, actually K through 2.
K through 2.
Then 3rd grade, I started in Dunbar.
Okay. Which is also in North Philly.
Which is also in North Philly.
Okay. 12th in Cecil B. Moore?
Yes.
Okay.
And then.
What was it 12th in Columbia back then? Or was it 12th in Cecil B. Moore?
It's Columbia.
It was 12th in Columbia. Okay.
Columbia.
You did half a year, you said, in Dunbar.
And half a year in Dunbar.
Do you remember why?
Besides the prejudice teacher, it was just, I don't know. It was a lot going on there that my mom just felt like she wanted to put me back in Ludlow.
Okay.
Which she transferred me to Dunbar because they felt like it was a better school.
Okay, got it.
But that experience was just, it wasn't better.
It wound up not being a better school.
It wasn't better at all.
Got it. Do you remember anything that happened specifically?
I remember I had a teacher.
Okay.
First of all, I was always an honor roll student. Always was A's and B's.
Okay.
So my teacher, though, he didn't like me because, again, I'm vocal.
Right.
But he used to pick the kids up by their ears.
What?
Sometimes he put them in the trash. He used to just do crazy.
You physically saw a teacher put a kid in the trash can?
And I couldn't understand it. I'm like, y'all don't tell your parents?
Right.
And I told a parent, like, I said, my dad will kill you. Like,
so you never physically got picked up by your ears and put in trash?
But what he did was, he gave me an E in behavior, because back then we got E.
E's? What does E mean?
That's an F.
Okay.
I don't know why they did E's and F's, but it was lower than an F.
You got an E in behavior. Wow.
Which had never happened. And this is the one time my mom did listen to me. She was like, yeah, no, this is not a thing.
Got it.
And my dad's like, yeah, you go. And if it doesn't resolve.
Right.
You know what I mean? But my mom was not, she wasn't having that. She like,
Okay.
So then after that process, we kind of changed school.
Okay, and went back to Ludlow. And you were there until when?
Until 5th grade.
Okay. So was there a graduation from Ludlow?
No, I just transferred because we moved.
Okay, you moved again.
From one section of North Philly to another section,
okay,
which was more than 5 miles. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So you transferred from Ludlow to where?
To Clymer.
Oh, you went to Clymer. Okay, and you went to Clymer from what, 5th through?
6th.
Okay.
We were still graduating 6th.
Do you remember Clymer like vividly?
Yes.
Do you remember Ludlow vividly?
Yes.
What school did you like better, Clymer or Ludlow? And why?
I mean, Clymer, Ludlow, of course, I like better because my family was there.
Ah, okay.
You know, I knew everybody. That's the neighborhood. Like, I grew up there. So that would be the better place because I grew up in that. Everybody was there. Everybody I knew, all my friends, my family.
Okay.
And I could walk to my grandma's house, walk to my house, like, yeah, that was convenient.
Okay, got it. So in Clymer, it's just your household. It's not your
Well, no, my dad's side was also close.
Oh, okay.
But I was the only person in Clymer.
Got it.
I'm the baby.
Okay.
So everybody under me is babies.
Right. So you just by yourself in Clymer.
Yeah, I'm the first girl on that side. Then Bob, my little brother, is the first boy.
Okay.
So, and we're 7 years apart.
Right. So he wouldn't have been in elementary school with you.
In school.
So were you good in Clymer though? You made friends?
Yeah, I was good. I made friends.
Okay, excellent. So from there, was there a graduation from Clymer?
Yes, there was a graduation.
Do you remember who all came?
My dad, my mom, and my dad's mom.
Okay. So you went to what middle school after that?
Wanamaker, John Wanamaker.
Which
does not exist anymore.
It no longer exists. But that's also in North Philly.
Yes, it was across from Dunbar.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really? So it's back across town a little bit.
Yes.
So you went from your house at Clymer. So did you walk or did you walked? How far a walk was that in your mind?
I don't know. It probably was. I want to definitely say it may be 3 miles.
Okay.
Maybe
so
3
about
miles.
what? That's like a half-hour walk.
Half-hour.
Okay.
When I was young.
So from there, you went to what high school did you go to?
I went to Girls High from there.
Okay. Which is in the Alany section of Philadelphia. Is that part of North Philly or is not North Philly?
I mean, no, they don't. They consider it more northwest.
Okay.
But I mean, we from North Philly would say, yeah, it's still a part of North Philly.
Right. Okay. Got it.
You're not quite west.
So how'd you like it? How'd you like Girls High?
I love Girls High.
Okay.
I mean, that was a change. It was a change in the school.
How so?
Everything. First of all, this was the first time I went to school with kids that didn't look like me.
Okay.
Most of my school experience, I went to all black schools, and they may have had some Hispanic.
Right.
But this time it was Asians. It was white people. It was all different races. So that was different.
Was that a culture shock for you, or was it?
It wasn't, because they were not mean people.
Okay.
So it actually wasn't. It was probably shocking that I expected a bad experience.
You were expecting some racism and didn't even get it.
Because growing up, my grandmother Thelma was very. She was not for white people at all. She was totally against.
Because she probably grew up in the Jim Crow era.
Yes, she grew up in South Carolina, Beaufort. And,
Right, and that's not a good place to grow up in the 40s, 50s, 60s if you're black. In the 20s if you're black. Right.
Yes, so.
Right. And in some cases, Philadelphia.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I don't think it ever stopped, because when they came, they lived in South Philly.
Ah, right, where all the Italians and the white people live.
And they had money, so the fact that you weren't getting respect and you still had money, she didn't like it at all.
Okay.
So I guess it was a culture shock, and the fact that it didn't pan out how I thought.
Right.
But as far as the education was also a shock. Even though, I gotta say K through 8, I probably had some of the best teachers.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't the best schools, our teachers were very adamant about teaching. So
let's go into that. Describe your high school experience overall. Like, what were some of the things that you appreciated and things you went through?
High school, I was seeing stuff and experiencing different stuff that led me to want different stuff. But most of my, I guess, life-changing things happened in middle school.
Really? Okay.
More so than high school. High school was a short period for me, because I went to girls' high. I wound up having a nervous breakdown. I changed high schools. I went to William Penn, which no longer exists.
Right. That was also in North Philly on Broad Street.
Broad Street. But
So let's go back to middle school then. Let's not skip over that. What were some of the life-changing things that happened to you in middle school?
I had some really great teachers who left really great impressions, and they focused on me.
Okay.
Like, it was a lot of nurturing.
Okay.
They seen that I lacked some things, and they were very persistent in fulfilling them. Even coming down to, making sure that I was ready to go to a good high school.
Right.
My teachers were the ones that said, this will be a good high school for you, and we're gearing you to go to this school.
Okay. So you got groomed, basically.
Basically.
Okay. So you get to high school. Let's fast forward to the nervous breakdown. Do you remember what happened? Like, what built up to it?
I don't quite. I know the whole life experience probably built up to it. Just puberty probably kicked it into overdrive.
Right.
Not being able to express myself as I would like.
Okay.
And having all these emotions and feelings and not being able to direct them.
Okay.
So I think lack of nurturing, lack of trusting people probably catapulted me into the nervous breakdowns.
Okay. So what happened after that?
After that, I went to the hospital for a couple days, and I did therapy.
Okay.
Again, therapy was not a thing for black people in that time. It's like
even today, honestly.
Yeah,
and people are trying to
around.
Right.
Yeah, they're still coming around, but it's necessary, and it's a thing, because it's a lot of trauma that happens in your life.
Right.
And you don't quite know how to navigate it.
Which is crazy, because you were this kid from North Philly and you got put into this environment where, like, the note from us talking earlier, you said you loved everything about Girls High. You loved the teachers, the education. You learned the difference between a funded versus an unfunded school. The curriculum was different. The students were different, which you just called out. The respect level was different. People's attitudes were different. Like everybody was on the same plane of we want to be successful in life, so we're trying to. Everybody's there to learn. You went to school with like kids of different races, and now you're experiencing the world outside of North Philly.
Yeah.
It seems like you were in the ultimate environment to thrive and succeed, and you still kind of exploded a little bit. That's
Because
interesting.
home was not where the school environment was great, but every other situation
Right.
was not great.
So what teachers always say, it starts in the home. For you, it literally started in the home.
Right.
Well, really for every child, but for you,
Every
that's where the
child.
problems were. And that's what happens with teachers. They're trying to connect with a student, and you're like, yo, what's going on at home? But you can't really ask them most of the time. But sometimes you do and open that Pandora's box. Start hearing things you weren't prepared
Right.
to hear. So you went to the hospital, and what happened after that? After the therapy, blah, blah, blah.
Well, while I was in the hospital, I realized I was pregnant.
Oh, so you had a boyfriend. We skipped over that.
I actually didn't have a boyfriend.
You actually didn't have, he wasn't your boyfriend. Okay,
It was
okay,
all part of this trauma and,
okay.
experience that I was going through and I guess looking for something.
Okay.
But
How old were you when you got pregnant?
I was 15.
Ooh, you were young.
I was 15.
Okay.
Yes. And
So did you have your child, you said your oldest was your son. Did you have your son at 15 or at 16?
I had him at 15.
At 15.
I
Okay.
had him at
Okay.
15.
Okay.
And then I turned 16 shortly.
So you were already kind of helping raising your siblings. Now you had to grow up way faster than you probably were supposed to. Than you were supposed to.
That kind of
Right.
kicked me into growing up faster. But
So did you ever go back to Girls High?
I didn't.
You
I
didn't?
went to Penn.
You went, okay, so you transferred to
I
Penn?
transferred to Penn.
And
And that was more of a culture shock.
That was the culture shock. Going back to the hood, basically. Okay.
Yes, it was more of a culture shock because the education expectations were so much higher. And it was crazy how people, parents even,
Okay.
send their kids to school. And you have a level of expectation. But you don't, I guess, you don't evaluate it.
Okay.
So you like, oh, they're going to school, they're passing or they're not passing.
Right.
But you really have no idea what's going on in the classroom, what the classes they're taking mean.
Right.
Or any of that.
Okay.
So when I left Girls High, I was taking Algebra 2, Chemistry, what else? English 3, English 2,
Okay.
French 3, because I took French 2 years in middle school.
Right.
So I was pushed up to 2 when I got to high school.
Okay.
And I had taken algebra in middle school, so they gave me geometry
Okay.
when I started in the 9th grade. So I left in the 10th grade, and it's crazy because I missed like a month or so of school because I was not going to school. So, but when I got to Penn, they weren't on the same level. They put me in the same classes, but they were not the same.
Got it.
They were a year behind.
Got it.
Which worked in my benefit because I could pass.
Right.
You know,
You could just
missing
skate
those
through.
months behind was nothing. But then when I went to 11th grade, I stopped going to school.
Okay.
You know,
Why?
still just a lot of personal things.
And now you got a
going
baby.
on, and now I got a baby.
Okay.
And that was a major thing.
Was he helping you out with the baby, by the way?
Yeah.
He was.
Very helpful.
Okay. Okay.
You know, the dad was definitely there. And he went to the military when I was in the 11th grade.
Okay.
He was 3 years older than me.
Okay, got it.
So when I had my baby, he was graduating high school.
Okay. What branch, by the way? Where did he go?
He went to the Navy.
So you went to the Navy. Okay. Okay.
Probably he actually enlisted the day he was born.
Wow. Okay.
So he was not there.
Got it.
But so yeah, so we were actually like I was kind of living with him, and you know it was just a lot going on. But I wound up not going to school
Okay.
for half a year. So then I decided, you know what? I have a baby. I need to get myself together. Let me go back to school.
So
Next year I'm going.
When you stopped going to school, were you physically leaving the house where your parents thought you were going to school?
I wasn't living with my parents.
You weren't even living with your parents by this point?
The father.
Okay. Got it.
So then, I decided to go back to school. But when I went back,
right,
they had dropped all my classes.
Okay.
So then they put me in like physical science and general math. If you know what general math is. They were
kind of like disrespecting you, putting in some cheesy classes.
Like general math, first of all, don't belong in high school at all. It is elementary, 4th grade math.
Right.
Like 325 plus 112. I was like, I'm not doing this.
And then the kids in the class are struggling with that. Right.
Yes. It's so crazy. So I was like, no. So they're like, I'm going down to the office. I'm arguing with them. They're like, well, you need a parent. I'm like, I don't have a parent. I live by myself. So then I talked to my mom. Well, no, I'm not coming up there, blah, blah, blah. So you know what? I was like, you know what? I ain't go back and forth with y'all. My girlfriend told me about a TPEEP program, which is a teen parents and education program.
So TPEEP, TPEEP.
Yes.
Okay, and it stands for Teen Parenting Education Elect Program.
Yes.
What was your girlfriend's name? You want to give her a shout out?
Sil.
Okay, shout out to Sil. Okay, she told you about TPEEP?
Yes, and I was like, and that's they help you get your GED and teach you parenting skills and some life skills and all of that. So I'm like...
Now that program probably still exists in Philly.
They have different forms of it.
Okay.
Definitely.
It might not be called TPEEP today, but they have...
Yes.
It's evolved into whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Through different programs like Congresso or Temple has it.
Really? Okay.
It's probably schools and agencies that does it. Esperanza.
So it's more than just school, it's also giving you some life skills because they know you're about to get thrown into the world.
And job readiness or college prep.
Okay.
That's what I did.
So you finished TPEEP though?
I finished the program.
How long was the program?
I want to say it was about 8 months.
8 months? Okay.
But, you finish on your own level because if you get your GED in 6 months and you decide not to go anymore, you can do that.
Oh, okay.
And depending on the age, because I was probably one of the youngest people in the program.
Okay.
Most people in there were already, 18, 19, like they were older than me.
Okay, got it.
Which it was a good program.
Now I also heard that they pay you to go there, like you were getting a weekly stipend. Okay. Was it a lot?
It was like $50 a week.
Okay.
Basically lunch.
Yeah, enough to car fare and lunch money.
Yeah,
got it.
Lunch.
Okay. So you finished there.
Yep.
Okay. So now high school is kind of over then for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of high school, quick question: do you remember your first ever job?
Yes.
Where did you work?
I did a summer program, like Youth Works with Health Partners.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time it was like 4400 Wissahickon Avenue.
Which is where?
That is Northwest. Maybe North Philly. I don't even know. The divided lines are crazy.
Right. You cross the street and you in Alany or Logan.
Yeah, but it's definitely called Uptown.
Oh, Uptown.
From Philadelphia.
Okay, Uptown. Okay.
It's more Uptown.
Okay.
But
what did you do? What was your job?
I was like a secretary.
Okay.
Like a secretary.
It was, it paid, right?
Yes.
No, that's right. Wow. So, all right, here's the money question. You ready? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you rate your overall childhood?
A 6.
Okay. What would you say would have made it like 7 or 8?
Probably less trauma, but more parent involvement.
So more stability, more parental involvement, better family dynamic.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you so I got a question for you. You mentioned that one of your daughters is 17. You take that 17-year-old kid and put her in your body at 17. Would she be able to handle your life?
Probably better.
Probably better?
She probably would do a better job.
How so?
She is so much more grounded. But then I don't know because she's grounded because of her experiences.
Right.
And So I don't know if to say if I could put her in my 17-year-old body, but for the most part, she's very resilient.
So, it's hard to speak for other people. Would you say that your children are having or had a better childhood than you did?
100%.
100%.
100%.
Okay.
And even speaking of my 17-year-old, which I would probably say that she would have did great because she was skipped in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
So, and being a girl, being small, being skipped, her whole school experience and basically life experience, she had to engage with older, bigger people.
Right.
And she did it with no problem.
And a lot of kids didn't.
A lot of kids didn't.
Right.
So she did well.
Okay.
So she definitely would do well. But they definitely had they had a stable life. She grew up in the same house her entire life. She was born there, and you know, she had her own things.
Okay.
All of them.
You don't even see how your face lights up when you talk about them. Like, yeah, they had a much better childhood than I did. You're like, I can speak for them. How about that?
I'm speaking from their words,
right,
too.
Right.
But definitely, looking at my childhood, looking at their childhood, definitely.
Do you have a worst childhood day that you would like to forever forget?
I don't know if I would ever forget it.
No, that you would like to, like, if you could. Like, erase it from the record books, like this day never happened.
I don't know. Worst childhood day that I thought before was missing a birthday, which is now seems selfish.
What do you mean
I
you
don't
missed
know
a
if
birthday?
I would erase it.
Okay.
My youngest brother is born a day after me. So that year...
When you were 9.
1983. I didn't have a birthday. And birthdays were kind of a big thing. It is a big thing.
Okay.
It's still a big thing for my family. But I missed that birthday. So I kind of... but erase it? I don't know.
Wait. So let's talk about that for a second. You remembered it. Like, it stands out. Like, why did you miss it? What happened?
Because my mom was in labor.
Your mom was in labor? Oh, right. You just said it. You just said his birthday is the day after yours.
She was in the hospital.
So you...
And she told me before she left, she's like, when I had a baby, I'm going to come back. We're going to still celebrate. We did it.
So that was just like horrible for you. Got it.
It was horrible.
Do you have a favorite day of your childhood or time period that you would like to go back to if you could?
Probably Christmas.
Okay. So Christmas was big in your family?
Christmas was huge.
Okay.
Christmas was
on both sides?
On both sides.
Okay.
Most years, my mom's side Christmas was okay.
Okay.
But my dad's side, always a thing. Always a thing. It's always a time for family to come together and just have fun. And on my mom's side, that was a day when my grandma was definitely going to be there because she wasn't there a lot.
Okay.
So it's a day when she normally was home and we were cooking, cleaning, and even as a kid, just cleaning with her was a great thing.
Music blasting.
Everything was great when she was there.
Got it.
But, so yeah, Christmas, probably my 4th Christmas was probably one of the best.
Okay.
Because, I want to say my aunt was still alive.
Okay, yeah, aunt
on
who?
My dad's side, my aunt Lady Bird.
Aunt Lady Bird, shout out.
And I got like Whoopsie doll, which I absolutely love. Like you squeeze the tummy and her pigtails would go up like Whoopsie. You
can make your hair go up in the air. She's Whoopsie.
Okay.
I got an oven that you can actually cook in, not easy bake. Like it was actually a real oven you plug up and you cook stuff.
Okay.
So it was. I got like Atari games and an organ. Like my parents bought stuff that they wanted to play with.
Right.
Because I cared nothing about an organ or the Atari game, but Whoopsie in the oven was me.
Okay,
I was the
it.
girl.
Okay.
So that was like one of my best. That was the best.
Is there anything in your childhood that occurred that you feel affected your life forever, negatively or positively?
I don't know if I can say one thing, but I believe that all things work collectively to engage who the person that I am.
So almost every experience.
Almost every experience, but in particular, like on my mom's side, I guess that kind of made me stronger being not a person that was liked. Like, I was the person that people kind of picked on, and I kind of stood out. And then on my dad's side, like, it was like a buffer. Like, I was the special person. I was, so, you know, I guess building character on my mom's side made me stronger
Right.
to offset the softness of my dad's side. So I
Okay.
guess those two kind of came together to make me the person that I am.
Okay. Some things that you had called out previously were obviously getting pregnant at 15, that affected you forever. And also like the depressions that you called out, like that many teenagers go through, where you kind of felt different things like about, you know, your parents that kind of like stuck with you forever.
Well, maybe, you know, I felt most of the time growing up that me and my mom didn't have a good relationship because I felt like she didn't really like me.
Okay. Okay.
So that kind of probably catapulted a lot of the home life confrontation and chaos.
Right.
And once I started to get older and realize, like, okay, I really I don't have to deal with this.
Right.
So, yeah, that definitely caused an effect.
Okay.
I don't know. My dad, per se, was kind of a I gotta understand type of person. So,
right.
Your life wasn't hard as my life, so it gotta be good. And girls belong with their moms, so moms are good for girls. So it's like no matter what is going on, it's like their theories and ideas catapult their behaviors. My mom kind of felt, okay, well, I love you because you eat every day and you have shoes that can fit.
Right.
And in my life, that's not what I had.
Got it. So
So
you asked her, she's like, my daughter had a way better childhood than I had.
Yes,
right,
she is the best. And she's the best.
So what's your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life overall? Like, who are you today? Who is the Tamika of today? And how did all of your experiences, like growing up, like mold you into the person you are today?
Collectively, I reflect a lot. I reflect on things that happened, you know, how I overcame them, and that became motivation to just kind of move on and get past things. And I understand trauma, going to college, and, you know, you begin to see the theories of things that impacted you and how you can kind of resolve them or what actually happened in the first place.
Okay.
So it all built me. It all made me stronger. It all made me able to adapt and be more understanding in the things that I do in life.
Okay.
And how I deal with people.
Got it. I want you to give some advice to blank-year-old you. You pick the age. And if you could talk to that Tamika right now with all the things that you know today, what would you tell her?
Probably the 14-year-old.
So you want to give some advice to 14-year-old Tamika. What would you say to her?
Stay in girls' high and do not get pregnant.
I know that's right. You love your son, but if you could do it over, you probably wouldn't have got pregnant as a teenager.
Yes.
It was a kid having a kid.
Yes. And, don't do that. I mean, seek help. Now it's so much more for children and teenagers to get help or engage. Don't be scared of strangers.
Okay, got it.
Sometimes. Secrets hurt.
Right.
So, though giving up your strength and your security and divulging it, sometimes it is also gives you strength in knowing that you're no longer holding it. So for children, or especially teenagers, when you're going through stuff, you must communicate. You have to communicate, and you got to keep communicating until you find the people that are going to listen.
And there it is. Thank you for having the courage to speak out and tell your story, Tamika. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Kids don't forget.